What is up, fantasy sport fans?
What
As
is
always, co-host Seth.
Hello.
Hello. We're going to continue this and go with the AFC South, the Houston Texans.
The Texans. Hey, you know, we broadcast from Texas.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it's a huge state.
It is a huge state.
They're like hours away from us.
How many hours?
Like 5.5.
All right, well, we're going to start it out with the quarterback. Everybody should know Matt Schaub. He had 4,000 yards last year. 4,000. That's not bad. 22 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. What do you think about Matt Schaub? Would you trust Matt Schaub as your number one quarterback on your team?
Is there someone better available? Yeah, I would trust him. The guy can put up some good numbers. You know, especially when he has weapons to throw to. And going on that, who is he throwing to?
Yeah, wide receivers. Oh, by the way, Matt Schaub's QB rating.
Yeah, what was that?
90.7. Not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
Not bad.
Okay, first off, we've got Andre Johnson.
Andre
Johnson.
It is Andre.
Andre Johnson.
Andre Johnson.
The guy had 1,600 yards, 4 touchdowns on 112 recs. He had 112 catches.
So is it safe to say Andre Johnson has re-emerged?
He had, in each catch, his average was about 14.3. You know, he was averaging around 15 yards a catch. He started the season slow last year. He picked it up. He was huge. 1,600 yards. You can't get that from your everyday receiver.
You can't even get that sometimes out of your running back.
No, most of the time out of your running back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this guy, if you're going to draft him, he's going to be your number one guy. His hamstring is a little worrisome. He missed some games a few years ago, a couple years back in 2011, you know. And he's getting older, but it just doesn't seem like he's slowing down at all.
It seems like he came back with a vengeance, and he just picked up right where he left off. I mean, yeah, he started out slow, but heck, man, you miss a season of football and you get right back out there, man. Yeah, it may take you a little while. So, I mean, it's just like fantasy baseball, man. Sometimes when a guy comes off the DL, you need to wait a couple days before you start that guy because it's got to get back in there. He's got to get right back in the zone. Andre Johnson had to get back in the zone, and the guy's back in the zone, peoples.
Yeah, he just never had any help either. He never had anybody to take away the coverage from him. He had no other receiver. His tight end. That's about it.
That's pretty much it.
They were doubling Andre Johnson
of course.
every time. But they did draft a guy named DeAndre Hopkins out of Clemson University.
DeAndre. They like that name, Andre.
Yeah, they do like that name, Andre.
That's kind of awkward.
But yeah, he came out as a junior, but in college he put up 1,400 yards, had an 18 per catch average with 18 touchdowns.
That could draw some heat off of Johnson.
That could draw some heat, but that's pretty much all they have. They have no other receivers besides those two guys and their tight end.
And who is that tight end?
That tight end is Owen Daniels.
You know what? I would start that guy in my fantasy league.
would too.
I trust Owen Daniels. I like Owen Daniels.
He's
Owen
a good
Daniels,
receiver.
You're a friendly person to my fantasy team. Hello, how are you doing? You're friendly.
Is that how you treat friendly people?
Friendly.
You say,
friendly
hello,
people.
how are you doing?
Hello.
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 I hate British accents.
Oh.
Hate them.
Is that what that was?
Can't stand them.
I was just throwing it out there. I was seeing what it was.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, so yeah, Owen Daniels had 716 yards. He had 6 touchdowns and averaged about 12 yards a catch.
Yeah.
Can you handle 700 yards and 6 touchdowns out of your starting tight end?
I would want more, but you know what? I'll take it.
You'll take it?
I'll take it.
The tight end market's pretty low.
It's pretty low right now, so I'll take it.
It's pretty down there.
If it's like my last thing that I need to do in my draft, yeah, you know what? I'm doing that. As far as good players, you know, no, I'm not talking about the later rounds. I'm talking about if the other amazing tight ends like Gronkowski and Hernandez and other peeps like that if they're gone and Daniels is still on the board and I need one, I'm taking that guy.
He's a top 10 tight end for sure and should be on somebody's starting roster.
Of course.
No doubt.
And if he's not on yours and you're running somebody like, say, like Delaney Walker, you know what? You lost out. You lost out.
All
Daniels should have been your guy.
Now, who is this guy that they call Arian Foster, number 23?
Who is that guy?
Who is that guy?
You know, I think that guy would be classified as a badass.
As a number 1 running back.
Of
Legit.
course.
And he would be going number 1 this year, and he might still if it wasn't for Adrian Peterson.
You know, and honestly,
and people are going to take Arian Foster over AP.
They will. It really depends on who you prefer, AP or Arian. But Arian Foster, he no matter what, he will go in some drafts this year as a number 1 draft pick.
The thing about Arian Foster, he had 1,400 yards last year, 1,400, 15 touchdowns. 15. That's huge. His average was about 4.1. That's not bad. He only had 40 catches, I guess, and he had 217 yards and 2 touchdowns on top of that. If your number 1 running back gives you 17 touchdowns, come on.
Yeah, I'm taking that.
That's your guy for sure. He'll be going number 1 or number 2 most of the time.
Yeah, of course. Don't even expect this guy to be in the second round.
If you have the 5th pick, then you're not getting him.
Pretty much that, and if he does to fall to you at number 5 or beyond that, consider yourself lucky, and you jump all over that.
But just so you know, his receiving yards did go down from 2011. In 2011, he had 617 receiving yards on top of all his rushing yards. This year, he only had 217. I don't know if they're trying to not throw the ball to him as much, but 400 yards is a huge difference in one season.
You know, and a lot complain that could be defensive schemes. Hey, this running back, if he's going out, make sure you're covering him. You know, there's a lot of things that could come into play about that, but guess what? The guy has done it before. He could easily do it again.
All right, and I'm going to go ahead and bring up the handcuff. If you do get Arian Foster, you may want to grab the guy named Ben Tate.
Yeah, and you'll be able to get this guy much later in the draft rounds, but Arian Foster has been known to go out on an injury, and Tate can easily take over that workload and be a workhorse for your fantasy lineup.
Yeah, some people drafted Ben Tate last year knowing that he was going to be the second running back and was still starting the guy. Yeah. And he disappointed. You know, he played in 11 games. He only had 279 yards and 2 touchdowns. But if you go back a couple years, 2011, he had 942 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
900. If he can do anything close to that on top of what Arian Foster does, good God.
Yeah, no joke, man. What else we got there?
Defense.
God, dude, Houston's defense is phenomenal, and it's only going to get better.
Just to name a few, J.J. Watt, Brian Cushing, Jonathan Joseph, Danielle Manning, and now they added Ed Reed.
Easily a top 5 defense.
Yeah, I mean, J.J. Watt had 20.5 sacks last year. He had 6 blocked balls. He batted down 16. He had 16 blocked passes.
I had this guy on my fantasy team last year, J.J. Watt.
You don't really get points for that, but unless you're in a defensive league where you actually pick defensive players.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. I had J.J. Watt on my defensive players team, and I'm not going to lie. This guy led the defensive side of the ball on my fantasy team every single week. He's an animal. He will produce. If you're running a defensive league where you have defensive players, defensive ends, defensive linemen, whatever the case,
J.J. Watt.
You're picking this dude. Do not sleep on him.
Yeah, and I mean, they have Ed Reed as their free safety coming from Baltimore. They've got Danielle Manning as their strong safety. They got Jonathan Joseph as their cornerback. Brian Cushing only played in 5 games, but in the 5 games he had 23 tackles and an interception. Once he comes back healthy with Wade Phillips as their defensive coordinator, even though he's a terrible head coach, they are a amazing defense. Yeah,
no doubt. You guys need a great defense out there to be on your fantasy team week in and week out. You're starting the Texans. I'm drafting this team for sure.
All right, so out of the Texans, who do we got that's going to be that you would draft for sure, no doubt, if they were on the board? We've got Matt Schaub. Not really sure about Matt Schaub. I'd prefer not to have him unless you're in 2 quarterback leagues. You know, then you've got to have somebody like Matt Schaub.
Andre
for
Johnson.
4,000 yards.
Andre Johnson for sure you're drafting.
And Arian Foster. So we're kind of iffy on the quarterback. You've got Andre Johnson. You've got Arian Foster. Owen Daniels. He's definitely going to be drafted.
Definitely.
And their defense.
Yeah, and if you completely disagree with us, please leave comments on our section, man. Let us know that you disagree with us, but I don't see how you could, because these are legit right here. These are legit picks.
Yeah. If any of these guys are on the board and you're kind of weighing the possibilities of drafting them, don't draft them too early. Draft them where they need to be drafted, but you should have no fear. The Houston Texans are going to be good this year.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
That's it.
Hey, Seth here with FantasySportFans.com. Hey, be sure to enter your name and your email on our website to get instant access to our free beginner's guide of fantasy football. By subscribing, you will get free Fantasy Sport Fans updates, tips, and Fantasy Sport Fan news with no spam.